There comes a moment in every life when you're standing between hope and doubt, between the version of you that wants to believe and the version of you that's tired of trying. In that very moment, something miraculous can happen if you dare to assume. Assume that things are working for you, not against you. Assume that behind the scenes, a divine order is aligning events, people, and moments to serve your highest good. And all of it begins not with action, but with belief. You don't have to see it to trust it. In fact, what you see right now might deceive you. Your bank account might tell you it's over. Your relationships might look broken. Your dreams might seem too far to touch. But here's a secret most never realize. Reality obeys the one who feels the outcome before it ever arrives. The real work isn't in changing the world, it's in changing your assumption about the world. We've been taught to react, to wait, to prove ourselves first and believe later. But what if the opposite is true? What if the way out is to feel the freedom before it shows up, to walk with confidence as if the road is already clear, to act as if everything is already working out for you, even when your five senses scream otherwise? In this speech, I want to guide you into that state, not just to motivate you, but to transform how you see yourself and your life. Because once you step into the mindset of already having, already becoming, already being favored, everything changes. Not because the world changes first, but because you do. Close your eyes for a moment. Forget where you are. Forget what the clock says. Forget what your reality appears to be. Let all that fade. Now ask yourself one question. What if everything truly always worked out for me? Not sometimes. Not when I'm lucky. Not if I work hard enough or beg long enough, but always. What if beneath every delay there was design? What if behind every disappointment there was divine orchestration? What if the life I seek is already mine, waiting for me to feel it before I see it? You see, you do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. What you assume to be true of yourself and your world becomes the blueprint your reality must follow. If you assume defeat, you will see evidence of failure. If you assume rejection, you will encounter it. But if you dare to assume the best, life bends itself to reflect that assumption. Act as if everything always works out for you, because that is the seed of creation. The moment you act from the end, you declare to the universe, this is who I am now. The outer world may lag, but it will obey. The dream doesn't come to the one who waits. It comes to the one who believes it has already happened. Feel now what it would be like to be free, to be healthy, to be loved, to be rich. Not someday, but now. Feel it so deeply that you begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. That feeling is not fantasy. It is the mold from which reality is cast. If you're facing lack, don't resist it. Instead, rise above it in your imagination. Step into the version of yourself who already has what they desire. Live from the wish fulfilled. Your senses may deny it. Let them. They are only echoes of your past assumptions. You are creating new echoes now. This world is not outside of you. It is within you. Your consciousness is the only reality. You don't change the mirror by scratching at the reflection. You change you, and the reflection must follow. Assume it is already done. Walk as if it's already here, because in the invisible it is. And when doubt creeps in, and it will, return to the feeling. Don't fight circumstances. Transcend them. Anchor yourself in the belief that all things are unfolding perfectly, that even detours are divine, that even silence is filled with guidance, that you are never behind, you are always on time. Because the moment you act as if everything always works out for you, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. Not because it suddenly favors you, but because you finally favor yourself. And that, my friend, changes everything. Imagination is not a daydream. It is not an escape. It is the most powerful tool you possess, the creative power that molds the world you live in. Everything you have ever experienced, Every condition of your life, every person you have attracted, whether pleasant or painful, has its root in imagination. The secret is that life does not respond to what you do nearly as much as it responds to what you assume and imagine to be true. The outer world is nothing but a mirror reflecting back the images you hold within. What most people don't realize is that imagination creates reality, not figuratively, but literally. It is not a poetic thought. It is a law. When you imagine something vividly and consistently, feeling it to be real, you are planting the seed of that experience into the field of consciousness. That seed, though invisible, must sprout. The harvest may come in a form unexpected, but it will come. The moment you accept this truth, your life changes. No longer are you a victim of circumstance. You become a conscious creator. Think about this. Before a house is built, it exists in the mind of the architect. Before a book is written, it exists in the imagination of the author. Before any invention comes into being, it lives first in the invisible world of thought and vision. The same principle governs your life. Before success becomes your experience, it must become your assumption. Before love finds you, it must live in your inner atmosphere. Before healing appears, it must be felt within as already done. People often say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But the truth is, you'll see it when you believe it. That belief isn't passive. It is imaginative. It is the conscious decision to embody a new state of being, even when the evidence hasn't yet arrived. When you dwell in the imagination of your wish fulfilled, when you see yourself already having, being, or doing what you desire, you are rewriting the script of your life. Imagination is not about fantasy. It is about construction. And the moment you understand that imagination is the foundation of all creation, you no longer treat it as trivial. You become deliberate with your thoughts, intentional with your feelings, and focused with your inner vision. You begin to understand that life isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. Consider how many people live reactively, imprisoned by what they see. They look at their bank account and feel small. They see the news and feel fear. They hear someone's opinion and feel limited. But those are reflections, not roots. When you use your imagination to feel abundant, even while your account is empty, or to feel loved even when you're alone, or to feel strong even while you're healing, that is when you break the chain of reaction. You rise into creation. To imagine is to select. There are infinite realities, infinite possibilities, infinite versions of you. The version you activate is the one you consistently imagine. If you constantly picture yourself failing, struggling, or being rejected, then you're bonding with that timeline. But if you choose again and again to imagine yourself thriving, confident, chosen, powerful, free, then life has no choice but to catch up. The outer must match the inner. It does not matter how long you've lived in limitation. Imagination doesn't care about your past. It is timeless. In one moment of powerful imaginative assumption, you can alter the trajectory of your life. You can shift from lack to abundance, from fear to faith, from despair to destiny. But you must persist. Imagination is not a one-time wish. It is a daily state. It's how you move, think, breathe, speak, and see the world. The more real it feels, the more inevitable it becomes. So the question is not, what do I want, but rather, what am I imagining? Because that is the true creator. That is the silent architect building your future behind the scenes. Use it with reverence. Use it deliberately. Use it with faith. When you wake up each day, don't begin by reacting. Begin by creating. Begin by creating. Step into the version of you who already has what you seek. Feel it, see it, know it, and then let go of the need to control the outcome. Life will arrange itself. It always does. Because when you use your imagination as reality, not someday but now, you activate the law that cannot fail. Imagination creates reality. Assume the best is always unfolding. This is not naive optimism. It is powerful alignment with the creative force of the universe. Most people spend their lives preparing for the worst. They expect disappointment, anticipate failure, and brace themselves for pain. In doing so, they unknowingly summon those very outcomes. The mind is like fertile soil. It will grow whatever seed you plant, whether it is fear or faith. When you assume the best, you plant seeds of joy, opportunity, and abundance. And life, without fail, responds in kind. Assumptions are not wishful thinking. They are quiet convictions you carry within you every day. They are the unseen beliefs that shape your reactions, decisions, and energy. The assumption that everything is always working out for you, even when you can't see how, is the most powerful position you can take. It means you no longer panic in the unknown. You no longer resist delays. You trust that there is purpose even in confusion. Because when you assume the best, you surrender control while maintaining power. This does not mean that challenges won't arise. Life will still bring you contrast, obstacles, rejections, unanswered questions. But when your dominant assumption is that the best is unfolding, you interpret those moments differently. You see them as detours with direction, as setups for greater alignment, as necessary preparation for what you truly desire. You stop labeling things as bad or good, and instead see them all as stepping stones. This shift changes your vibration entirely. You move from anxiety to confidence, from tension to trust. Every time you encounter a delay or a moment that doesn't go your way, you have a choice. Assume it's a sign of failure, or assume it's part of a better plan. One keeps you in fear, the other keeps you in flow, and flow is where magic happens. When you believe that everything is unfolding in your favor, even if it looks messy, you relax into the moment. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop chasing people or timelines. You begin to allow. When you expect good to come to you, it often does, not because you're lucky, but because your expectation becomes an energetic command. People can feel it in your presence. Opportunities are drawn to you. Your decisions improve because they're not coming from desperation, but from calm, grounded belief. You radiate trust, and life mirrors that back to you. Assuming the best is an act of creation. It means speaking kindly to yourself, even when results haven't arrived. It means declaring something better is coming when something falls apart. It means smiling inwardly, knowing that your higher path is being paved even when it seems invisible. That assumption changes everything, not because the world changes instantly, but because you change. And when you change, reality follows. Imagine walking into every room, every conversation, every situation, carrying the assumption that things will go beautifully. Not from arrogance, but from certainty. You speak more freely, you listen more deeply. You carry yourself with peace. Why? Because you know that life is not out to get you. It's working for you, behind the scenes, in ways your logical mind can't always comprehend. Even in the silence, things are moving. Even when nothing appears to be happening, something is. You may not see it today, but your assumption is shaping tomorrow. The universe arranges itself according to your dominant inner belief. So the person who assumes defeat sees evidence of failure everywhere, but the one who assumes favor sees evidence of grace, synchronicity, and breakthrough, even in the small things. This way of thinking takes practice. It requires catching yourself when you fall into old patterns of fear and doubt. It means rewriting the inner script from what if it all goes wrong to what if it's all working out perfectly. And when you truly start to believe that, your experience begins to confirm it. You become calmer under pressure. You rebound faster from setbacks. You attract people who reflect your inner confidence. Because life doesn't just happen, it responds. Your assumption is the command, and your reality is the echo. So assume the best, not because it's guaranteed in every moment, but because it's your chosen stance. And your choice creates the channel through which life delivers. When you assume that everything is always unfolding for your highest good, even chaos becomes clarity. Even endings become beginnings. And even the most uncertain moments become sacred, because you know they are leading you somewhere far better than you ever imagined. Persistence in assumption is the secret behind every lasting transformation. It is not the fleeting wish or the temporary visualization that creates change, but the unwavering commitment to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, day after day, moment after moment. Most people give up too soon. They plant the seed of a new reality, then doubt it, dig it up, question the soil, and eventually walk away. But the one who persists in the assumption, who refuses to let go of the inner vision, despite what the outer world says, becomes the master of their destiny. You must understand this. Assumption is not a single event. It is a state of being. To assume something means to claim it emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It is the inner conviction that something is already true, already yours, already done. And persistence in that state, especially when there is no physical evidence, is what tests and shapes your creative power. Anyone can believe when things look promising, but the true creator believes when the sky is dark, when the road seems blocked, when the senses scream impossible. That's where miracles begin. Life will often test your commitment to a new assumption. You may declare abundance and suddenly bills appear. You may assume love and old wounds rise. This is not failure, it is feedback. It is the old reality pushing back against your new identity. The question is, will you persist? Will you hold firm to the feeling that you are already abundant, already loved, already whole, even when life tempts you to believe otherwise? The answer must be yes, if you wish to rise. You see, the outer world is slow to catch up. It is a delayed mirror, reflecting the assumptions you have consistently held. If you give up too early, the mirror keeps showing the old reflection. But if you persist long enough in your new inner state, the mirror must shift. Reality will bend. Circumstances will change. People will show up. Not because you forced them, but because you became magnetic to the version of life that matches your assumption. Persistence is not about effort. It's not about straining or constantly thinking about your desire. It's about gently, confidently returning to the feeling that it is already done. When doubt creeps in, and it will, you return. When fear knocks, you return. When nothing seems to change, you return. You remind yourself, I am not waiting for it to happen. I am living as though it already has. That subtle but powerful return to assumption is what creates momentum in the unseen. Many people confuse manifestation with control. They try to manipulate the outer world, rush the process, force the results, but true manifestation is rooted in surrender to the assumption. You assume the end and you let life organize the steps. You trust that everything between now and the full realization of your desire is unfolding with divine precision. You may not understand every twist, but you trust the story is still unfolding in your favor. Persistence also builds confidence. Every time you choose your assumption over your circumstances, you build inner strength. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, radiate differently. People feel your presence, your knowing. You are no longer hoping, you're embodying. And that embodiment shifts the atmosphere around you. The outer world begins to yield to your inner conviction. Let's be clear, persistence is not denial. It is not pretending nothing is wrong or refusing to acknowledge pain. It is choosing not to dwell there. It is choosing again and again to align with the version of yourself that already has what you desire. Pain may still arise. Fear may visit. But you don't make them your home. You return to your inner truth. It is done. It is mine. I am that now. When you persist in assumption, you move beyond surface level change. You rewrite your identity. You become the person who no longer chases, because you already are. You no longer beg, because you already have. And from that place of power, the world bows to you, not out of submission, but because you finally stopped bowing to doubt. The greatest gift you can give yourself is consistency in inner belief. When others give up, you stay anchored. When results seem slow, you remain calm, because you know that your assumption is the seed, and your persistence is the water. With enough nurturing, that seed will break through the soil, no matter how hard, no matter how dry. So do not look for signs. Become the sign. Do not wait for proof. Be the proof. Persist in the assumption of the life you desire, not someday, but now, and watch as reality shapes itself around the strength of your inner conviction. Detach from the how if you truly wish to manifest your desires. The greatest trap in creation is the obsession with how it will happen. The moment you begin to imagine your dream, your mind will attempt to take control. It will ask, how will it come? Who will bring it? When will it arrive? But these questions, though natural, are distractions. They pull you away from your true power, the feeling of the end result, and bring you back into doubt, logic, and resistance. The how is not your responsibility. Your only role is to dwell in the fulfilled state of your desire. The universe has infinite pathways to deliver your desire, paths you cannot predict, control, or often even comprehend. When you try to force the process or demand a specific method, you limit the creative power of life. You block possibilities greater than your imagination. You narrow the channel through which blessings can arrive. But when you surrender the how, you open yourself to miracles. You make room for the unexpected, for divine orchestration, for timing that is perfect, beyond what your mind could ever plan. Detachment from the how is not passive. It is powerful. It means you trust the process so deeply that you no longer need to supervise it. You release the urge to monitor progress, to track signs, to measure the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Instead, you move forward with peace. You feel the outcome as if it is already done, and you allow the path to reveal itself moment by moment. You walk in alignment, not in anxiety. Think of a farmer planting a seed. He does not dig it up each day to see if it is growing. He trusts the process. He knows that beneath the soil, in invisible silence, something is happening. Likewise, when you set your intention and feel it as real, something begins to shift in the unseen. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not unfolding. Faith is not seeing, it is knowing. Detachment is that knowing. When you detach from the how, you reclaim your energy. You no longer waste time overthinking, strategizing, or doubting. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop measuring time as if your manifestation is late. You step into a deeper flow, where synchronicities emerge, doors open, and guidance comes in ways you never expected. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable, not because you forced it, but because you surrendered to the greater intelligence moving through all things. This surrender is not weakness. It is alignment with the divine. The ego wants control. It wants guarantees. It wants steps. But creation does not respond to force. It responds to faith. When you detach, you say, I no longer need to know how it comes. I trust that it is already done, and life will take care of the details. That trust is what carries the seed of your desire into manifestation. The details are never your job. Your job is the assumption, the feeling, the belief. It is tempting to cling to timing and methods, especially when you've waited long, especially when you're surrounded by evidence that contradicts your dream. But this is precisely when detachment becomes the most powerful. When you can look at your current reality, see nothing changing, and still say, it is done. You have moved into mastery. You have stopped reacting and started creating. In truth, the how often surprises us. The job comes through a stranger. The healing comes through a conversation. The relationship forms when we stop searching. Why? Because we got out of the way. We allowed the universe to move in its own rhythm. using the perfect people, timing, and steps to deliver what we could not have orchestrated on our own. That is the beauty of letting go of the how. It gives life the space to do what you cannot. Detachment doesn't mean you stop acting. It means your actions flow from faith, not fear. You do what you're inspired to do, but you're not frantic. You're not controlling. You are calm, certain, aligned. And that energy makes you magnetic. The right doors open because you stop pounding on the wrong ones. So the next time you feel yourself asking, how, pause. Take a breath. Return to the end result. Feel it, embody it, smile, knowing it is already yours. Then let life do what it does best, surprise you with its brilliance. The how is not your path to walk. Stay loyal to the vision, and let the path appear beneath your feet. That is the essence of true manifestation. When you begin to live from the assumption that everything always works out for you, you shift your entire reality from effort to ease, from fear to faith, from questioning to knowing. You no longer chase outcomes, you align with them. You no longer beg life for miracles, you expect them. Because the moment you claim the end in your imagination and persist in that feeling, the universe begins to shape itself to match your inner state. Life becomes less about fixing and more about flowing. You stop resisting what is and start trusting what's coming. Every delay, every detour, every silence becomes part of a perfect unfolding. You begin to walk with a quiet power, knowing that the how is handled, that the unseen is moving, and that what you've claimed within must take form without. Your world bends, not because you forced it, but because you finally believed it. And belief, sustained and felt, is the force that shapes destiny. So carry this truth with you. Your assumption is your seed, your feeling is the soil, and your faith is the sunlight. Water it daily with love, confidence, and gratitude. And when doubt visits, return to the end. Feel it again. Live it now. Let that be your practice. Let that be your path. Let that be your power.